168 of Uncensored. I am your host, KeithAndrew. Along here with Bay Ragni, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're welcome. Can we skip episode 68 and just make it episode 69?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Now, for people who want to know what Uncensored is, Uncensored's my way of showing people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm turning myself into a perfect example for people out there who are dealing with learning disabilities. That you should never label yourself or have people label you, and you should prove to them that you can still amount to something. Now, I turned down some new, and it's hard for me to keep saying it because I keep tweaking it to new saying. I used to say in my past 167 interviews, turning myself into a perfect example for people out there deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair. That you should never give up, label yourself, or have people. You never should label yourself, have people label you, and should never give up. And you got a lot of criticisms recently saying, how are you turning yourself into a perfect example for blind people? You're not blind, and you're not deaf, so you can't be a perfect example for people like that.
So, all right, let me ask you, no offense to you, what is your disability?
I'm pretty much like you, only I learn at a slower pace.
I learn at a slow pace too, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, I know it's good that you should bring up the topic. It's a show. It's about me proving to people that with learning disability, I can overcome it. And I've been hiding behind the cloth and not really talking about it. But you can ask me anything you want, But I'm like I said, I'm pretty much like you. I learn at a slower pace. I'm labeled and classified as mentally retarded. And this is my way of saying, hey, I can't do anything else, but look at what I'm capable of doing, and I'm very passionate about it.
Well, you seem to be doing a hell of a job, if you ask me.
No, I appreciate it. Now, next question I was going to ask you is, how would you describe your high school years? Do you think you got everything out of it that you wanted? Do you think you could have gotten more out of it?
I definitely could have got more out of it. My high school years were a very fun time. It was more, for me, about being a social butterfly, partying, and it was the 80s at that time, and it was the age of hair bands and a great music scene, and I was all wrapped up in that, and I didn't care about school, and I ended up dropping out of school. So, and I refused, and I still have refused to get a GED or anything, because I wanted to make it and prove to people that I could, because especially through high school, people always said to me, you need that high school diploma, and I was like, it ain't going to make a difference to me if I have it or not, so I just never got it.
That's true, and recently I did come across more ignorant people saying to me, why do I deserve a talk show? I went to college for 4 years, and I have a master's, and I have a BA. I'm more qualified than this kid. Well, why should he get something I've been having a hard time 4 years? It's kind of like, okay, I understand you went to college and you deserve it because you worked hard at it.
Right.
But I'm also turning myself into a perfect example for people out there that, hey, I was shit on in high school, and I'm classified as mentally challenged, mentally retarded, but, I'm still, the whole point of life is to prove to people you can still amount to something, And one reason I didn't want to go to college, and you mentioned GED, I never got a GED either. I got something called a IEP.
Okay.
And basically that doesn't mean shit. But for people who want to know what an IEP diploma is, it's a indivisible educational program or something like that, and all that's good for if I want to go to Orange Community College, Rockland Community College, any community college, or Warner Trade. I can't go to SUNY, Potsdam, Plattsburgh, SUNY New Paltz. Can't go to any of it. That's regardless of my learning disability. They already said no. And basically, this is my 4 years of school, and I'm gonna ask you the same questions. What did you do in high school before you dropped out? But basically, every day in school, they're like, here's the newspaper. Go sit in the corner and read it. And I really didn't get anything from my education, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and that was a big part of why I dropped down. Plus, I also, at the time, I was working at a pizza shop, delivering pizzas, and the pizza shop went up for sale. So I said, joking around to my sister, I said, yeah, we should go by the pizza shop so I can keep my job. Well, here she turned around behind my back and went to my mom, who was sick with cancer at the time and dying, and said, maybe we should buy this pizza shop so this way he has something that he can make as a career, and he'll have a business, because we know he's not sticking with school. So they turned around and they talked it out, and next thing I know, I'm buying a pizza shop at 18 years old. So, and as soon as they said, you can drop out, I was like, really? Oh, yes, sign me up. We're done. Let's go. So I had, the approval to drop out, and I had a pizza shop at 18 years old.
Now, not to get too personal, but it is uncensored. Do you have any regrets about dropping out?
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Do
I recommend it for others? No. Do I recommend it for my own children? No.
So,
for myself, yes.
Do you think things worked out for you? Now, before we talk about your talk show, do you still have your pizza company, or?
No. My mom ended up passing away about a year and a half later, and at that point I was 19 years old and literally just went off the deep end. And by the time I was 20, I was basically a full-blown alcoholic in a bottle of depression. So we lost the pizza shop. I just couldn't deal with it no more. Couldn't do it much at that time.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm very close to my parents too, so we're in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, if you still have your parents, cherish them. Because, I lost my father. I was 4 years old, and my mom before I turned 19. So, it sucks. It's life, but, if you still have your parents, make sure you cherish them.
Well, I'm a good person, so there's always, one reason. The reason I do the talk show is to prove a point and make new friends, so I'm a good person. So if you ever need anything, you just let me know.
Absolutely.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, how did you get started with your talk show? What motivated you? You mentioned that you were in that state of mind at the time, so basically what snapped you out of it to say, okay, you have to do something with your life?
First part of it was, I always was big with music, always loved music, always listened to the radio. And once Howard Stern came into the Philadelphia area where I'm from, in I guess it was around 86, 87, I was hooked to Howard Stern. And still to this day, listen to Howard almost every day. And he's a huge influence on me. And then, also too, in the early 90s, I started training to become a professional wrestler. And became a professional wrestler, and started also, while I was wrestling, I was promoting wrestling shows as well. And one of the ways I used to promote wrestling shows was to do a weekly wrestling radio show. So I used to buy airtime from a local AM station in the Philadelphia area and started doing a weekly wrestling show. And once we stopped running the shows and we went out of business and all back like 15 years ago, and the radio show stopped, I just missed it. And I always wanted to do something similar to Howard Stern. But I tell people, like, when they ask me what my show is, it's basically a Howard Stern show without the funniness. I mean, we talk about our everyday lives. We talk about things that we enjoy, whether it's TV, music, movies, what we're doing. And we try to do a lot of celebrity interviews. And we get like 2 to 3 celebrity interviews a week.
Now, what stars have you mentioned? Have you had the privilege of interviewing?
It's scary because I think we're closing in on almost 300 celebrity interviews. We've had people from Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses. We've had people from tons of reality TV shows. We've had Eric Roberts, the actor, people from True Blood, people from the show Sullivan and Son. I mean, the list is endless. Comedians, a lot of music guests, you name it. We've had all types of guests. Sports guests. We had Icky Woods a few weeks ago. Who's doing that? He did that Geico commercial. Gotta get the cold cuts. Woo! We've had tons. Wrestlers.
What about professional wrestlers?
We just had an old friend of mine. I was actually in ECW wrestling back in the mid-'90s, 95 to 96, as one of the Dudley Boys. One of the guys who I've remained very close friends with since then he was in the WWE, ECW, the Blue Meanie. We had him on a few weeks ago. I had Mickey James on last year. So time to time we get some wrestling guests in there as well.
Hey, if you could hook me up, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Now, the people I interviewed, are you familiar with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed Kerrigan Mayhem. He did the voice to Goldar. I interviewed Ron Wiseman. He did the music.
Nice.
For my demo interviews, I can get to that story, but that's called my demo for right now. For my demos, I did one with Barbara Goodson. She was Rita Raposa. Ron Wiseman. Robert Axel, he did War Z in Finster. I interviewed people from Dragon Ball Z. Actually, let's see what it's. We're going back to my demo years. I interviewed Trunks, Future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. Eric Vale. I can't remember the guy's name, but he did South Kai and Pycon from Dragon Ball Z. Part of my demo years, I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin, said about it right, from Amazing Spider-Man, Mary Jane, the guy who worked for JJ.
Okay.
So just a bunch of them, man. My mistake, and now for people who want to know what am I hinted towards the demo years, basically I started my talk show off like what you're doing. Or I don't know if you do it, would you do it like this or not, but...
No, you know what? When I originally started doing it, I was using Skype just as a connection, not doing the video. And I had so many problems with it, I stopped using it probably a year and a half ago. And I actually deleted it off my laptop and all, and I actually just reinstalled it about an hour ago so we can do this.
Well, personally, I would prefer it because it's always better to see the person who you're talking to.
Right.
And I'm not going to tell you the whole story about that. And basically, when I first started my talk show, it was audio. I was trying to get a hold of Blog Talk Radio. I was talking to a couple people. Don't remember who.
Okay.
And they're saying, okay, you have to pay $40 a month. Okay. And at the time, I talked to a former Power Ranger. She's a bitch. But I apologized to her, but she refuses to accept my apology, and from her and her agent says we don't accept apologies from people like you. Or whatever is her karma. Basically, I invited her to be a guest on my talk show. And I told her it's uncensored, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Oh no, it's nice what you're doing, but I want nothing to do with it. Next day, hey everyone, I'm blah blah blah, and I have a brand new talk show. It's entitled Uncensored, it's this and that. Well, son of a bitch. Everything I just told you, you're using for yourself, and that's fine, whatever. You know, it's uncensored. I don't own any rights to uncensored. It can be used for me, used for you, for my dog, for my cat, whatever. It's not the point. But the point I got pissed at is that she didn't even hesitate of taking my whole concept that I took. And I said, I didn't call her a nigger. I didn't call her a spec. No, I never said anything like that. You know, all I said to her was that you are an asshole and you are a hypocrite. And I was so pissed because I was talking to Blog Talk Radio, so I really want this. And then the $40 also played a part in it. The reason I didn't do Blog Talk Radio was I don't have a guest every single day.
Right.
Like, I'm doing an episode today thanks to you, and a guest later on today because I have someone to talk to. I didn't want to piss $40 away on airtime for, you know, for time I wasn't even going to use. So it was completely irrelevant. Why would I want to erase them? You know, there's one time where I had a week booked, and that would have been fine. But, you know, I like this. I like, you know, human contact.
Right.
And
see, with my show, I mean, we are on Blog Talk, and I mean, I do one main show a week. Sometimes I'll do a special here and there throughout the week, but my one show I do is 3 hours every Thursday night, and I would love to be able to do a show every day, but A, it's not going to pay my bills,
right,
and B, it takes so much work putting together one show for 3 hours a week, let alone a show every day. You know, that's where the true talent comes in. And I'm sure you can vouch for this, where people, like, when you're doing a show, they just think, oh, yeah, I'll just get on here and that's it, and I don't have to do no research, no this, no that. They don't know. Once they start doing it, I mean, we started this network, and I've put the hand out to people who've asked me they wanted to do shows. You give them shows, and they do like a month of shows, and they're like, this is work. It's not fun no more. I didn't realize how hard this is.
That's true. And then the other thing was the demo interviews where it's just audio. I'm a big fan of Rod Axel. Big fan.
Okay.
But his interview was painful. Yeah, I love him. I have a lot of respect for him. But I was basically, acting. Okay, acting. Okay, at season 1, at that time, it's like, where do you stand on gun control? Fine. Okay. Where do you stand on legalizing marijuana? Fine. Okay. 10 minutes. Oh God, I can't do a half hour with this guy. It's trying to make him talk, and he didn't want to talk, and so it's kind of like, and there's other people like that too, though. The reason, let's fast forward now. I don't want to bitch to you, I apologize.
That's alright.
And fast forward, and the people said to me, and it still gets to me, oh, you have this great format. Why aren't you as big, or link, bigger than you portray yourself to be? Why don't you have sponsors? Why don't you have endorsers? And I said, I don't know. Would you like to help me with that? No, if you're not capable of doing it yourself, man, I guess that you're not meant to do it. And it's like, okay, well, thanks for the vote of confidence, asshole. Actually, I didn't say asshole. I said asshole after I hung up on him.
It's not. That's another thing. I mean, I have sponsors, but not enough to cover my bill every month. So and it's hard to get them. It's hard to get. I mean, a lot of my sponsors are businesses that I'm good friends with that have thrown me the bone. You know what I mean? That help me out.
Well, for people, well, let me just finish up the story, then I'm going to ask you the difference between your show and my show. So basically, they were saying, well, I don't have this, well, I don't have that. And it's, okay, what's your demographic? Do you cater to the whites, blacks, Asians? I don't know. What is your age range? I don't know. Well, what do you know? I know my videos are being watched. I know the numbers are going up. Well, that's not good enough. No one's going to work with you. And they said, well, we're going to give you a hint of advice. Do it over from the beginning. Do it in the video format, what we're doing.
Okay.
See where it goes. And 168, thanks to you. You know, the numbers are going up. And people who I became friends with from season 1, you know, Kerrigan and everyone. Recently, I got the chance to interview Double J Jet Jarrett.
Okay.
And slowly the numbers are, you know, going up. And I interviewed Wendy Palbro, brother of Macho Man Randy Savage, and the numbers were going up. So I am getting big name stars, but they keep saying, why don't you have sponsors? Why don't you have this and that? I don't know. I'm trying. You know, but now the question is, I'm going to go back to you, is you actually have an official show. You're on the radio. And I'm just
on Blog Talk Radio.
I'm
just internet.
I forgot. No disrespect.
I wish I was on. Actually, you know what? I don't wish I was on regular radio because something that Howard Stern always says, and I have to agree. I feel it's a dying media. It really is, and it's scary because I just bought a used car a few weeks ago, and I have a new car that is not four-wheel drive, and I needed a four-wheel drive for the winter, so I just got one a couple weeks ago, and it doesn't have satellite radio. And I'm stuck listening to normal radio, and I'm like tortured going back and forth to work every day, and I'm just like, I have to get satellite radio news because it's the same, 40 songs they play over and over. There's no real good talk going on. There's nothing, and it's all commercials. It's every hour is 20 minutes of commercials.
No, I agree with you. Now the next question, you're right.
You can't curse or be uncensored.
That's true. Now, for the next question I was going to ask you is, what's the difference between your show and my show?
Well, number one, you are video. I am audio.
Yes.
My show, there's more of us. I have a co-host. Being alone by myself doing one-on-one, it'd probably be easier doing it this way. But on the radio doing it one-on-one, I feel like it's like I'm talking to nobody. You know
right.
what I mean? Like it's hard to get my groove going. But if I know my co-host is there to fall back on, I feel much more confident. And I also have two other co-hosts that call in from time to time that are kind of like our group. We have me and my main co-hosts are the main ones, and then we have two others that are our backups and kind of our little, we call ourselves the nerd herd because we talk a lot about superhero shows and comic books and nerdy type things from time to time.
Actually, didn't you do a video interview with Mickey James?
No.
I remember I saw you from somewhere. I just thought you.
I did. Most of my interviews, I'll take them and edit them and put them up on YouTube like that so people can hear them on there. I might have done. I used to do the wrestling convention circuit in the Philadelphia area a few years ago when it was happening a lot. And she was on a lot of those shows with me. And I did interviews for other, like, wrestling talk show things where I might have been on the same show as her.
All right. Well, I asked you a lot of hard-hitting questions, and this is your time, too. Is there anything you want to promote, any subjects you like to talk about, anything you want to ask me? This is your time, after all.
Main thing to promote is Totally Driven. I mean, that's, I went from being in bands for 16 to 20 years. I went from doing the pro wrestling thing for 15 years. Now I'm doing my world of totally driven entertainment, which it's just that. I want to be like a TMZ / Entertainment Tonight type thing where I can talk to and bring people, all these celebrities, with interviews, news, etc., whether it's TV, movies, music, sports, wrestling, you name it. I mean, I want to cover all bases, not just be limited to, you know, A-list group, put it that way. Because, you know, the B, C, D, and if you want to call us maybe the M or L list celebrities, deserve to be heard. You know, people got a voice and they deserve to be able to promote their stuff no matter how big or small it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I covered all my bases. I interviewed a whole bunch of white people, black people, Spanish people, Asians. And so I make sure people say, like, well, why don't you interview this group of people or that group? I made sure I covered all of that. And what you were saying about the A list, B list, C list, I pretty much interview anyone and anyone who wants to have a normal conversation. You know, from actors, actresses, voiceover actors, models, CEOs, to normal, hardworking people like you and me. I interview anyone who wants to be supportive of what I'm doing and to have the time, take the time, have a normal conversation. It's, you know, I'm not guilt tripping anyone. I'm not, you know, bullshitting with anyone. It's just basically, you know, it's everyone, like you said, everyone has a voice and everyone deserves to have an opportunity to have their voice be heard.
Absolutely. And my main show I do is Thursday nights from 8 to 11. It's called Totally Driven Radio. And I'm the main host on that show. And then I do another show on Sunday nights from 9 to 11. These are Eastern times, called TV Nation, where we just talk nothing but absolutely TV and what we're watching. And then I do other like sporadic specials from here to there, usually music-based specials. And you can just type in Totally Driven Radio, Totally Driven Entertainment. Our main website is totallydriventv.com, because eventually I'd like to be able to do video like you're doing and really bring the TV part into it. And you can follow me on Twitter at Bay Ragni, B-A-Y-R-A-G, as in girl, N-I.
Hey, well, wrap it. Well, actually, one more subject I want to ask you before wrapping up.
You can ask anything you want.
What is your fan base, and when you created did you create your fan base, or did that just happen over time? And does that really matter?
To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, it don't matter to me who they are, as long as they're supporting. And that's the big thing. And like what we do and like what we're doing. It's definitely been over time. I mean, it started out, when we actually first started doing the show, it was myself and another co-host who was my co-host for the first year. And we originally started, probably the first 6 to 8 weeks of our show was 90% sports talk. And it slowly evolved into the more of the entertainment side, to where now it's 90% entertainment and 10% sports, especially with my new host, because he's not a sports fan.
Now,
So, yeah.
Now, the reason I bring it up, for example, what's your Twitter following? Now, how many people follow you on Twitter and Facebook?
Well, here, my personal Twitter, I have like 600, something. I have Totally Driven Radio Twitter account, which is for the Totally Driven Radio show and all the shows on our network. That's got over 1,500. And then I have Totally Driven at Totally Driven TV, which is our website Twitter to put out all of our articles and blogs, etc. on that one. So, and that one's got, I think, 750.
No, that's more than what I have. You know, when I introduce myself to people, and you're one of them, you know, people say, yeah, I think you're doing a good thing. I'd love to be a part of it. Or I would get people say, yeah, you're doing a good thing, but I really want nothing to do with it. or I get the sarcastic people who say, we would only tell us about your following. It's like, well, I'm not a freaking cult leader. What do you mean by following? Oh, we don't mean it like that. Well, what's your Twitter following? What's your Twitter? And it's like, oh, well, I have right now 134, and hopefully you would follow me. And anyone else who wants to follow me, it's at hashtag KeithAndrewNetWork. Okay. And the last time I checked, it was 134. I'm trying to get my Facebook likes up, and you can go to Facebook, and look under KeithAndrewNetwork, and that's like 61. And
Facebook, the whole thing with Facebook is you gotta pay.
No, I am paying it. So the numbers they're not finding me people. I'm finding people to do it.
What I used to do Facebook ads just for our Facebook page for Totally Driven Entertainment, and I would get 20, 30 likes a week from it. And I started probably 2-3 months ago. I stopped doing that and I started promoting some of my posts, and that's worked a lot better for me. I'm over 1,700 now.
You mean like?
But followers and likes doesn't always equal listeners.
Now, when you promote it, do you do like on the air or do you like video promotions?
I pay to promote my stuff on Facebook, where you can boost your post. I'll boost posts for $5 and get some hits off of that.
I only do like $2. I just set a limit for myself.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to do $2 a day. I used to do it by the week, but now I'll do that a couple times a week.
And the reason we're talking about this is, there's a couple of professional wrestlers who say, we will only do your show if you had 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And you understand that I have a learning disability. Yes. Okay. And you understand the fact that I'm doing this to prove a point to people. Yes. And you're saying either I pay you $600 or I magically pull 6,000 people out of my ass to show you that I'm passionate and persistent about this.
Right.
Yes.
I get the same thing. Believe me, I get the same thing a lot. And it's from, a lot of stars, whether it's TV, music, or whatever. Any field of entertainment, it comes down to the same thing. They want to reach as much people as possible if they're going to take the time out of their day to do it, which I get, I understand.
That's true. I don't know if this was the actual person, but it was this Larry Sabisco. I don't know if it was really him, but it's Facebook after all. And he's like, well, I do it for $50. No, half hour, $30. That's fine. Okay, before you get a cent from me, we're going to talk on the phone. Either I'm going to hear your voice, or we got to do Skype. I'm going to see who we're actually talking to. Never heard back. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, nice try, buddy. I'm not that. I may be retarded, but I'm not that stupid.
That's crazy.
Well, wrapping up, do you have any funny stories or funny pranks that you pulled on people?
That's a weird question. Huh. I can't think of nothing off the top of my head. I never would have expected a question like that.
I did that to Double J recently. I said to him, it was about the Owen Hart incident. I said to him, there's two stories where we're rumors going on about you. One was about the Intercontinental, and McMahon was pissed at you because you had the belt and he didn't want you to go to WCW and walk on television and drop the belt in the garbage like Medusa did. And he said, no, well, that's completely that's completely fabricated. My contract was up. Yes, that was true. But he gave me the option of working the show or just surrendering the title.
Right.
But when I mentioned the other story about it, you didn't like the whole thing with Owen Hart and how they handle it, he says, it's been like 15 years since Owen passed. He said, out of 15 years since Owen passed, since his passing, you are the first person to ever say that to me. And I just want to say out, that's the complete bullshit. That's a complete lie.
Wow.
That's like, well, I'm glad I'll be the first person to actually say something.
That's good. That's very good. But I, off the top of my head, I can't think of any pranks that I've pulled. I know I haven't done none lately. Maybe little stupid ones on my kids, but that might be about it.
Alright, well, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners?
Check us out, give us a chance, and give my man Keith here a chance as well. Just give us a view, give me a listen, follow us all on social media, and become totally driven like the both of us are.